Russia dominates the world of oil and gas, ranking third in production of oil and second in natural gas. Russia's complex history and modern economy rely heavily on oil and gas, making for many ups and downs. As of 2014, Russia is the world's third largest producer of oil. During that year, they produced an average of 10.9 million barrels of oil per day. Some of the major milestones of Russia's oil industry include the first asphalt plant built in 1823, Russia's first pipeline in 1878, and the world's first steam-powered oil tanker, also built in 1878. Also in 1965, the Shame-Tumen oil pipeline was completed, connecting the West Siberian field to the Russian refineries of the east. Most of Russia's oil is produced from the West Siberia and the Urals-Volga regions. They are currently starting to migrate their drilling to East Siberia, where there is possibly 4.7 billion barrels of untapped oil. Russia has 7 major oil-producing regions. In order from highest production to lowest production, they are West Siberia, Urals-Volga, East Siberia, the Yamal Peninsula, North Caucasus, Taman Pechora, and Sakhalin Island. In Russia, the 5 largest oil companies are Rosneft, Lukoil, Gazpromneft, Surgutneftegas, and Tatneft. Russia has many different oil grades, with their most highly exported being the Urals blend. It is a mix of heavy sour crudes from Urals-Volga and sweet crudes from West Siberia. It is usually a medium grade or sour crude. Brent crude is much cheaper because of its content. One of the higher grade crudes in Russia is the Siberian light crude, which is very common to find mixed with the Urals crude. Russia produces more crude oil than they consume, which gives a lot of room for export. Although they are the world's third largest producer of oil, they actually consume more natural gas as to oil. As shown in the chart, 50% of Russia's energy consumption is from natural gas, 18% is from coal, 22% is from petroleum, and 9% is renewable or other. Russia is the second largest producer of natural gas in the world, behind only the United States. During 2013, Russia produced a total of 578.7 billion cubic meters of natural gas. Russia has a proven 47.8 trillion cubic meters of natural gas reserves, which is the most out of any country. The majority of the production is in West Siberia reserves, which have produced over 21 trillion cubic meters. However, new fields in places such as the Yamal Peninsula, Eastern Siberia, and the Sakhalin Island are having increased production. Gazprom is the largest natural gas company in Russia. It is technically privately owned, but the government owns the majority stake in the company. It produced 73% of Russia's total gas output in 2014 with 443.9 billion cubic meters. It also owns 36 trillion cubic meters of the reserves in Russia and 17% of global reserves. The entire Russian pipeline system is known as the Unified Gas Supply System, or the UGSS, and is almost entirely owned by Gazprom. It is the world's largest gas transmission system, with over 100,000 miles of gas pipelines and 26 underground storage facilities. Over 75% of the pipelines are 20 years old and were built during the Soviet era. The image shows all of Gazprom's natural gas pipelines, with the majority of them extending into Europe. Oil and natural gas make up more than 30% of Russia's GDP. As the graph shows, the value of the Russian ruble, along with the overall status of the economy, are very dependent on oil prices. If it was not For oil, Russia would not be the same. For more than 1,000 years, the presence of oil has been dominant. Even to this day, oil and gas are responsible for a majority of Russia's income, which in turn affects the economy and political structure of the country.